Alright, Fantastic Daily fans, if there are any of you out there, or Jake Paul fans, I mean, this doxing narrative is getting pretty popular or something. I don't know. It would be pretty interesting because I have noticed, like I've said in a previous video, people are stabbing each other in the back, creating the Ponzi scheme. The only way you can burst the Ponzi scheme, if the circle of circumstances, of the outcomes, how do you say that? The consequence, right? The consequence stabs you in the back. Your own stabs you in the back almost instantaneously, or at least you understand that you have stabbed yourself in the back. You created such a large Ponzi scheme, but in the end you're actually suffering from the same thing that you have created. That is the consequence that we need. This is the system that we need. This is the only solution to all the immorality. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is like, Fantastic Daily, definitely immoral. He's playing with reality. He's creating a narrative which is very dangerous because it creates a need to help him, right? He's not in a bubble where he's like, oh, these things are happening, but it's not very dangerous. It's just a form of entertainment, but I don't really need people's attention to actually help me in any way, or I will not ask for help, which he didn't necessarily did, but it didn't receive any. He just kind of rejected, so a lot of help. Moving on Jake Paul's side, I've seen the podcast, the H3H3, released yesterday with Jake Paul, and Jake Paul says, I am not a zoo animal, that people are gathering next to his home, and it's like he has to pay attention to those people, to his fans, and he just is tired of that. He doesn't like that. But yeah, maybe he is a zoo animal. I mean, he treats other people pretty trashy, even though the decision to come up to your favorite YouTuber or whatever, to reach out to whoever you're a fan of, I mean, it's kind of legit, it's kind of not legit. It may not work, it's 10% chance that it will work, and 1% chance that it will work the way you want it, maybe even less, but the whole point is that you cannot really disrespect that choice, and the whole doxing begins. But it was useful to expose Fantastic Daily like this, because he finally is pushed into the same corner that he was pushing other people into. He was pushing them emotionally and creating at least a needy environment, even clickbaity, where it's just emotionally intense, right? And you have to watch it because it seems real, and it's going to shape the way you perceive reality, and at the same time he just slams it into the wall and your reality is shattered, which I can appreciate, but the way he does it is a little bit too extreme, right? You're not supposed to create any. This is very complicated, right? So is he moral or not moral for doing that? Like, he created a little bit of value for for shattering people's perception, for kind of destroying people's trust in other people, which is totally cool because then you participate in free market rather than trying to communicate, because we can't communicate with each other. That is not possible right now. We are at war with our ideas. The only way to actually communicate is to put money and action and value, to put it all into an exchange mode. And when we know what is happening, that's what we can trust for sure. If someone helps us, we can trust a little bit of value to give back to them. And if we don't give back that value, then we're not supposed to be trusted. So this whole thing is very interesting. It's not organized. There is no system that actually manages that properly. If you think about what the banks are supposed to do, I mean, the fiat currency is a very special thing. It is flexible. It's not confounded to follow the price of gold or something. Like the gold-based currency wouldn't actually really work, I would think. The ability to print money is actually good if you know how much money you have to print, how much value is being created, and even better if you can instantly distribute that value. If someone has made a trade, someone has moved a pencil from one place to the other and created 2 points of value or whatever for a pencil. So that value has been created and someone has to share all of this value. It's kind of awkward, but I'll get into that like in the next video. But the whole point is that the economic growth only happens when people are moral, when people want to make an exchange. When people are forced to do the exchange, the economic value is being destroyed instead. And when you see so many lies, so many conceals of human intention, over time that intention pops out and kind of not only reverses the trade, not only buys back the pencil that you once sold, and it kind of diminishes the reason why the pencil was going away from you in the first place. Now, pencil is just a metaphor for everything that you lose that you will still want to buy back. It's like when you get tricked, you get sold some broken item, and then you want that item back in your life, and that is just the most stupidest economic thing that people can do, is sell broken-ish items or just fake value of something. It's just, if system was to recognize that, it would quickly try to punish people like this, and this is going to get more like advanced. This whole Ponzi scheme is going to get more and more advanced, and you can expect popular people to embrace this, because that's almost the only way you can claim success, and that's another reason to actually hate successful people, because you kind of know that in the background, even if they don't do it themselves, there's an uncontrollable Ponzi scheme going on. But to say that some popular person doesn't do the Ponzi scheme, that's a very unlikely thing to happen, really unlikely. But you can actually trust that person with huge amounts of value that doesn't really accomplish as much. I'm not sure how to fix this. There is no better solution than just creating a system, or at least I will try to create a digital example of how it works, which is basically a game, right? Games are the best examples of how things could work. So I'm counting on that to inspire people instead of creating false reality to inspire people. And that's kind of awkward. Yeah, this fantastic daily thing has fooled me, has shattered my reality for sure. Emotionally, I was kind of frustrated that weird things were happening to that person constantly, and they were escalating, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? Is this apocalypse already, or what the fuck? Like, people watching his stuff would get bad things happen to them. It's like, okay, but the apocalypse is kind of happening emotionally because we're starting to understand that Ponzi scheme artists start to understand that there's a growing threat. Now they can get doxed and all that crap. So this is almost like enough for them to get exposed, which will have to be embraced, will have to be done more often, because there's a lot more evil going on. And once enough evil is exposed, the apocalypse may happen, right? When there's enough evil with enough power that doesn't want to get exposed, but is getting the taste of its own medicine, it will try to do everything to stabilize. It has the value, it has stolen a bunch of value. It will try to do a lot of things. There's one image in my head of how it works. Like, you don't actually grind people who are skeptical, people who are haters. You don't grind these people into your circle anymore. This is kind of what exposes the person in the first place. If someone doesn't engage with the haters, except engage with the fans more, I would never do such a mistake, and I will love my haters more than my fans. However, what a hater grows into, that is even more lovable than the hater himself. But the fan is just kind of clueless person that you can trick. It's very, low experience. It is detached from who you're really working for and how. It doesn't really understand your work, right? The fan will not actually understand your work until he becomes a hater, and then he has to learn all these lessons of what you really meant, and then he becomes another level of person if he accepted all those things and he have lost, right? You have to destroy a hater, have to successfully do that in order to get value for yourself. So a hater is like a next level thing that you should care about, and Ponzi scheme artists are not gonna like that. They're not gonna appreciate haters. Right? That is impossible to do for them, because the hater is going to do very sensitive things that will feel like this person is exposing me, right? So they will want to quickly shut down the haters, because it will feel very dangerous for them to have haters, to not silence anyone. That is the most dangerous thing for Ponzi scheme artists. And once you see someone silencing someone else, it is not the most efficient strategy to gain popularity. The popularity can be exchanged for anything, whatever, right? You can grow anything you already have, and you can even come up with a new idea to grow. It doesn't matter. Popularity is so powerful in helping you out, and yet people who are silencing obviously are engaging in some kind of shady strategy which is not supposed to work. So this is my insight. This is my insight of how you can find a Ponzi scheme artist, how not to be one of them, and yeah, I hope this kind of reveals the whole strategy. But there's a lot more, and if you find a story to tell, then go ahead, guys, go ahead. But first you have the haters on me, you just have the haters.